Hi, in this video we'll be reiterating some of the things we already shown in the previous videos, but through a more concrete and let's say extreme scenario. We know that these researchers often struggle continuing on other people's work. So in this extreme scenario, let's imagine the following. There's some researcher who's working on the perfect cup of juice, but he won't publish any papers before it's finished. Unfortunately, this researcher dies after brewing a single imperfect cup, and it's up to us to continue. So let's see how Traceback supports these various informations you might want to either portray to other or even remember for yourself. So when editing this pipeline, the fourth section, how to run this solo experiment, is available. And the reason why is that there's so many different ways to run these models. In these extreme scenarios, we're using physical objects even. So it could be something like go to second floor, use the gray table, turn on machine, and blah blah blah. That gives information towards this entire solo experiment. So regardless of the fruits or whatever, these are instructions meant for this column basically. We can also, when we actually make the run, we can add a lot of different informations. We have this label, my great juice, but we also have notes. For example, the berries were bought in Netto and they expired the 7th of October. And we can have some assumptions, only if it has been stored in the fridge. And we define a cup of juice as half a liter. Great. And now, unfortunately, this researcher dies. So let's pretend that we're not John anymore. We're Bob now. So let's continue working on it. So what Bob will see is he will immediately see the full pipeline to understand what is required within this whole process. He understands that there's this juicer model and he knows it's the one on the second floor and things like that. But he also can see a history of all the runs, and he can see here, John made a run. What did John write? Well, he wrote where the berries were bought and expirations and everything he found relevant to this single run. So that means that I can even see what berries he picked and which machine he utilized and what his output were and all the things that are relevant. So, for example, I could say, okay, it didn't work out with berries, let's use some other kind, let's use some vegetable and things like that. And we can make it by going to second floor and following these instructions, saving another run. And throughout this process, they can keep adding more information. For example, oh, they found out that it shouldn't just go to second floor and blah, blah, blah. It's more important to do blah, blah. So this serves as a live form of documentation throughout the process, helping everybody involved in the same pipeline.